Of days when someone would show up in my grandmother's home and say, hey, this is my child, I want my child back, and that didn't happen. My name is Namukabo Werungah, and I'm a journalist based in Nairobi. For as long as I remember, something has been missing from my life. I have never known my birth father. I was raised by my mother's family, and I know my story is shared by millions in Kenya.
Families headed by single parents rose from 25.1% in 2009 to 38.2%. If unchecked, this trend shall destroy the fundamental character of Kenya and reap untold harm onto our most vulnerable and precious members, our children.
I have no idea if my father is alive or dead.
Suppose you find some drunkard old man.
If you met your father, you would see yourself as a carbon copy of that fellow.
Now, I have decided to search for him and for the missing part of my identity. Why look for the man? What good will this bring to your life now in your 40s, chasing after the memories of your possibly dead father? I don't know why people look for their fathers, but maybe they're not even looking for their fathers. Maybe they're looking for themselves. Yeah, maybe I've been looking for myself too. This is one of thousands of testimonies online, and it completely resonated with me. Growing up without a father has impacted me in ways I'm still trying to understand. I'm about to get married. I think for the first time, I felt like, okay, so who am I and who do I belong to? For the longest time, I struggled with self-esteem. I felt like maybe I wasn't good enough for someone to claim me. My family loves me. I have had great uncles, incredible uncles who have gone out of their way to be a father to me. It wasn't their responsibility, but they took it. Okay, no more tears. I don't like tears. I don't show my emotions easily, but this journey has been a lifetime coming. This gap in my soul is shared by many, but not everyone is happy to speak about it. Before I set off, I am meeting David and Chelsea, who have also struggled due to their own absent fathers.
I mean, a man in society, that's a responsibility that you need to take up. Anytime I think about that time, I see that man as a coward man. I always keep asking myself, what kind of father will I be?
So for me, I actually know my dad. We talk, but we don't have a bond. I've accepted that you are not there, and that's okay. I found my peace in that, and that's fine.
People don't get surprised a lot when you tell them, by the way, I didn't grow up with a father. It's a little bit different when you hear her mother abandoned her. It will make headlines. But I feel like as a society, we've kind of normalized fathers abandoning their children.
It's a scar we are born with.
Yeah.
And it brings up so many problems in life, issues with mental health, issues with anxiety. The worst thing about that is I'm very good talking to female and all that, but for the past 12 years, I'm not dated, So every time you freak out when you imagine someone will abandon you. So that's why I avoid a lot of relationships. It really affects you. You end up thinking, why is life being so cruel?
I have thought about this for long enough. After months of preparation, it's time to go. My mother conceived me when she was pretty young. And at the time that she conceived me, she was living with my aunt, her eldest sister, who back then was a teacher at Sacho High School in Baringo. And she met my birth father there. He was a policeman called Omunying. And that's all the information that I have. Now that I'm just on the road going to look for these clues, I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm hopeful. It's just a cocktail of emotions right now. I'm not hoping for a fairy tale. And whatever comes, I think I can handle it. The most difficult is, did he abandon me? Did he not want me? My first stop is Baringo in Kenya's Rift Valley. If my father was a police officer in this region, it is most likely he was stationed here. I am meeting the police commander. I've always been a little wary of the police, so it seems ironic to begin my search here.
And allow you go through the records we have. If we find him, well and good.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with identity.
It has a lot to do with identity, actually, yeah. Commander Kola's attitude is a welcome surprise. She's even asked several staff to help me. Hello, hi, how are you?
This is our nominal roll, 1985
Late 80s, yeah.
to 1989.
Oh, thank you so much. With the information that I have, I hoped this would be quite straightforward. I can see Baringo. Okay, good.
This is Baringo Division by Bell.
Yeah. But records weren't digital 30 years ago, and I had rather dreaded this reality. I've been searching through these records and I've not been able to find anything. I am told that the nominal records are destroyed after 15 years, so it's highly unlikely that I'll find the name here. But on top of that, I'm also told that there were many other units that were working around such a high school at that time. So I'm literally searching for a needle in a haystack. My visit to the police station has drawn a blank. I want to know what the law can do for people in my situation. So I'm going to see a family lawyer. I have thought about it because I know I'll be disrupting his life. But I'm not looking for a daddy-daughter relationship. I'm just looking to know who I am. Don't I, as an adult, have a right to know who my father is?
For you, your options are very limited. There's no specific law when it comes to adults. If you came and you said, I need a kidney and I believe he's the only one who can give me, well, that way the court can compel him to take up DNA. But you wanting to form a relationship with him, I think you're best placed to do this journey on your own. You don't need the courts. You just need you.
I have decided to go home to Kitale to spend a few days with my family. Hopefully, I'll find more clues. This is the first time I'm going to have this conversation with my family. And much as I know they understand this journey, I never consulted them. And I'm also a little bit scared of how they will take it. My grandmother is amazing. She's been my whole life. And I don't think anyone could love me more.
Habari yanyu safari. Aya, karibu nyumbani.
Yeah, so this is my mom. She's called Awino. My mother is very shy, and we've rarely talked about her past. We've agreed she won't be interviewed for this film. My mother, she had dropped out of school earlier because she wasn't well, and that now prevented her from continuing with education. So she was living with my aunt, her eldest sister at that time. Growing up, I noticed that my mother was treated differently. She's the woman who had a child when she was young and outside wedlock. I know they didn't respect her and they judged her a lot for getting pregnant and having children without really considering that, first of all, she was young, and secondly, there was a second party involved in this. It's lovely to be back with these women in the only place I've called home. But recently, I've felt a little lost. In my culture, not having a father has thrown up so many questions as I approach my wedding. I don't have the answers But now, more than ever, I need to know who I am. Near my home, I've been invited to a traditional ceremony for a young boy in a similar situation to me. Until now, he has been raised solely by his mother. He's reconnected with his father, but before he can be accepted and live with both parents, a special ceremony must take place.
Na sasa utamaduni huu wa muhimu sana, kwa sababu utamaduni huu utaleta sasa mtoto awe anaojua mahali anakaa. Najua watu wawili ndio wanalea mtoto, baba na mama. Na sasa watoto wengi saa hii, ukiona wale ambao hawajafanya vitu namna hii, ndio unaona kwa shule wanafanya kwa sababu hawakuwa na maadili mema.
Kama mtoto angekuja hapa nyumbani afike umri ambao anataka kuoa, nini inafanyika?
Basi sasa hiyo ndio mahali itakuwa mbaya zaidi, kwa sababu huyo mtoto huko hata hiyo blessing hatakuwa nayo. Hiyo kitu ya kwanza. Sasa hiyo itakuwa laani the family ya laana, na tena hata hakuna mahali atakuwa.
I hope this young boy grows up with a sense of belonging, identity, and peace, all things I have longed for. I feel like I'm ready to go into the next phase, and of course, I'm hoping to have children. And one of the things that I never want is for my child to grow up with the questions that I grew up with. If I don't find him at the end of this journey, I'm never going to try to look for him ever again. I may not stop questioning because the questions will still be there. I'll always wonder who he is, where he is, what kind of a person he was. But it will just not bother me anymore. The only way I think I may get some clarity is to speak to my aunt, who taught at Sacho High School and with whom my mother lived when I was conceived.
Jambo. Welcome.
Because it's taken more than 30 years to ask these questions. There's always that fear that if I ask these questions, how are they going to feel?
So for me, it's okay. Yeah. Somebody looking for the father. I don't find it surprising. We also know your character. So maybe this is the time it has come.
Yeah. So I remember when I talked to Mom the first time, she told me that he was a police officer in Baringo.
No.
Who was he?
He was a military officer.
For real?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
They came to our school, so we were interacting. Yeah.
Do you remember if he ever came to your house?
I do.
He did?
Yes, many times.
Oh. Did you know of his interaction with Mom?
No. I only learned later. And maybe he has never heard that he has a child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suppose you find him and he's not in your expectations. Suppose you find some drunkard, old man.
I'll come back to you crying. Finding out my birth father was in the military is a revelation, so I'm heading straight back to Baringo County to Sacho High School. It is one of Kenya's best schools, set up and owned by the late President Moi. I have had my father's unit were best there, helping to build the school. So it must be there that my mother met my birth father. I'm here because I'm searching for my father. I believe that he was among the people who constructed this school in the late 80s.
The 12th Battalion were here, and I know it because I was a student in this school at that time.
Do you remember the members of the military? Do you remember any of them?
The only person I remember was their leader, Captain Kwonyike. And I think he retired when he was a colonel.
Might you be knowing where the colonel might be right now, Colonel Kwonyike?
The colonel retired, but maybe I can find his contacts.
It's a stroke of luck that the deputy head was actually a student when my father worked here. I noticed from a very young age that I'm not like the other children. I think it was hardest when people asked questions like, where is your father? And I didn't have answers, and back then I didn't have the courage to ask.
This
1982 to 1994. Okay. A thorough look through such archives reveals nothing more. I'm wondering what to do next when my faith is rewarded. The deputy head has found the colonel's phone number, and the colonel has agreed to meet me. This is my first real breakthrough. So I'm a little bit anxious. I'm hopeful this is the man who will lead me to my birth father. Hello.
How are you?
I'm very fine. Nice to meet you finally.
To meet you too.
Yeah. Do you remember or do you know a man named Omunyina?
There were 3 Omunyins.
Were they related?
They were brothers. Yeah. And the Omunyin who was with me in Sacho was a caterpillar driver.
I believe he is my father according to the information that I have been given. And I'm here because I'm actually searching for him.
So I'm sure if your mom was in Sacha and she conceived out of a relationship with Omunyin, that is the Omunyin I'm referring to. And that is exactly your father. The Omunyin I know, to me, was an introvert. He used to keep to himself.
That's interesting because I'm also an introvert, and now I'm curious because now I'm starting to see some similarities.
If you met your father, you would see yourself as a carbon copy of that fellow. Look at his face and look at yours. That is Omunyin. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was a good man. He's a good man. In fact, even I'm surprised now that he ventured out to mingle with your mother, maybe outside that place, because that camp was a very serious camp and people used not to come in and out, no.
Yeah.
So maybe I could help try also to research more to find out the exact name and the current location of him. For any information that I'll come across, maybe if you give me a call later.
Colonel Kwonyike is the first person I've met aside from my family who has actually met my father. For the first time, this man who brought me into the world may be within my reach. My history is suddenly becoming real. If I get to meet the man, I think the first thing would be, I think I'm gonna stare at him awkwardly. Just to make sure that he's an actual human being, that he does exist. Like when I think of him, it's just something blank, you see? I think it's gonna be a shock for me to actually see that there's someone in this world who exists who I was supposed to call dad or I was supposed to call father. Hi.
Yes, Malabo.
Colonel, I don't know if you managed maybe to find his name or his whereabouts.
Yeah, his name is Lawrence Omunyin.
Ah,
Lawrence Omunyin.
okay.
Yeah.
Is he alive?
Thank you. Of course, he's alive.
Ah, okay.
He's alive and he's in a place called Nambale.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have an exact address, maybe a village or something?
If you went to that Nambale place,
Yeah.
I'm meant to understand it's a famous family around there. They know the fellow.
Ah, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for this information.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This has been a very emotional journey for me, even if it doesn't show. I go to bed thinking about it. I am showering, thinking about it. I am eating, thinking about it. I am very emotional, yeah. I still don't know if I want him in my life or not. At this point, I still just want to see the face, to see this person. Also, I'm willing to give him the benefit of doubt to understand why. If he is a good man, and I hope he's a good man, we will see. We'll see what happens from there. The fear of rejection is there, and I'm hoping to get a phone number. I'd like to have a phone conversation with him before I walk to his gate. If I call him and he rejects me over phone, that is fine. I'll never get to know him. I'll never get to see that face. But if I go to his home and he rejects me from there, I'll have that face with me. And I don't want that. It's been a long night, and I've had a change of heart. I've come this far, and I can't go back. I didn't sleep at all last night. For some reason, I just stayed up the whole night reading advice on how to meet someone for the first time. I have played several scenarios in my head, and they all end up with me being chased out of that home. I don't know how it's gonna be, honestly, but I'm just gonna go and see how it goes. But I'm very scared, very scared. I can't turn up unannounced at my birth father's home with a camera crew. I need to go alone first and see if I'm welcome. In the end, I needn't have warrant.
Yeah, we are happy. We are happy to meet her.
Vile tu nilisema wakati aliingia kwa gate tu na hii.
Oh my God.
Nilijua this my daughter. Nimefurahi zaidi na nimepokea kwa mikono miwili kwa sababu yeye ni mtoto yangu. Na mimi naye kama ningejua niko na daughter nje, I would have used everything in my disposal kutafuta yeye. Mimi naweza kusema I'm sorry because yeye hakunijua na mimi sikumjua, lakini amechukua long time kunitafuta mimi. Alishughulika kanipata, nimefurahi, natakia maisha mazuri. Sasa my family imeongezeka na mimi hiyo nimefurahi. Tulikuwa sisi number of 7, sasa tumeongezeka tumekuwa 8. And that's very good. I say thank you very much for bringing my daughter home. That is very great.
I think from the moment I saw him, I kind of knew it was him. I walked in, I found him at the gate because he was seeing someone off, and he just said, welcome. Yeah, and then he looked at me and I asked him, do you remember her? I said, yeah, I remember her. So I told him, you too had an affair, a baby was born, and that baby is me. And he said, okay, welcome home. I'm still trying to to digest and figure out what I'm feeling. But it wasn't as bad as I expected, actually. I'm really glad that I went on this journey because I needed to know. I have no regrets whatsoever. I still have a lot to think about, but there's a possibility that I've opened another door. I'm hoping to have the conversation where I tell him what my life has been growing up, not knowing about him, and how it impacted me. I do hope that any fathers out there who know about their children but they don't have a relation with their children, I really do hope that they will think about their child. They will think about how it is, you know. For me, if just one parent reaches out to their child and tells them that you are my child, I love you and I'm here for you, I'm happy. Yeah. Three months after my journey, it is my traditional wedding day. My culture prevents my birth father from coming here to my grandmother's home. But I've squared my circle and I've found my peace. And I'm thrilled that some of my new siblings are able to join me.
I'm Sylvia Apumu Omnyin, Leah's sister from Busia.
My name is Max Omnyin. I'm Leah's elder sister.
Freed from my past, I can now step forward into my future.
One more smile.